Okay, we just pulled into Carver Falls Road, which is a side road that we talked about right off from Bear Road. So we're gonna sit, we're gonna listen and run some thermal, see what we can hear. Hi everybody, welcome to Northwoods. As I've been promising, here's a nice little Bigfoot video. We are in Whitehall, New York. The scene, obviously, Bear Road. Arguably the most famous Bigfoot sighting, second to the Patterson-Gimlin film. Back in 1976, there was sightings August to November-ish, might be a little bit off on that, involving 3 police officers from 3 different agencies and some civilians. We're gonna go to the scene and I'll explain a little bit more about it. Okay, so we're here where everything started back in 1976. There's no markers, nothing to tell us exactly where it is. Through a lot of research is where I found out the right spot. I believe it was 3 juveniles, the teenagers, up in that field is where they first saw the creature. They go into town. I'm not going to use the police officers' names because I don't have permission to, and I don't want to get in trouble. I want to respect their privacy. They come up, the teenagers found the police officer back in town, which is about 6.5 to 7 miles away from here. Police officer over in this field, you can see it, the field behind all this is actually where he had his sighting, in that field. And it's my understanding at that time that field was not plowed, was not hayed, anything at that time. The field over where the original sighting was by the teenagers was. At some point, and I believe it was a couple nights later, they were actually able to drive down into those fields, and where they had their sightings, there was a New York State Trooper, a Washington County, New York Deputy Sheriff, and a police officer from the town of Whitehall. And this is where it all began. So let's go talk about some other sightings in this town. One thing I do want to point out is
your destination is ahead.
I'm not going to go into a lot of the history of the sighting and the fine details of the sighting. A couple reasons. If you've never heard of the Whitehall, New York sighting, you're probably not watching this video, and you probably don't have a ton of interest in Bigfoot. one thing I want to point out, back in the 70s, this area was not developed like it is now. It was actually a very rural area. And even now, being as developed it is, there's just miles upon miles upon miles of woods, as you see in my drone video, around this area, around the Adirondacks. It is a great place for, if there is something, to be living out here, to live undetected. Keep it going. Now this is Carver's Falls Road, and it's almost at the end of where Abear Road ends, excuse me. And that's about where the sightings ended. It was right from County Road, I believe it was County Road 10 that we turned on to Abear Road. From County Road up Abear Road, it's an extremely short distance, maybe 1/10 of a mile tops. So whatever they saw was, for lack of a better term, on a main road or just off the main road. They're mostly, what there are for houses up here are farmhouses, and a lot of them are run by Amish. Now our plan for tonight, I'd like to find a hiking trail to go in, but I'm not so sure that's going to happen. So what we want to do is go on some of these back roads, because there are, up until this day, a lot of alleged sightings of the creature crossing in front of the cars. Different sightings that way. Now, do I expect to see something on Abear Road? No. There's Bigfoot festivals here in Whitehall. There's people up and down. It's so famous that even if it was still as rural as possible, like it was in the 70s, there's no way anything would still be around there. The amount of visitors, you can already tell from being up there. There's areas to pull off. You can see where people have pulled off for years at that spot, and different spots around Abear Road. So if it was as smart as alleged, if it exists, I don't know. If it's as smart as people claim that it is, it's not going to be in that area. All right, now one thing people don't really know that much about is, a year before the famous sightings on Abear Road, there's a country club off County Road 9A. And I might have been wrong on which county road Abear Road was off from. But on County Road 9A, there's a country club. In 1975, there was a sighting by an employee, and he may have been the owner. And it was on hole 1, and as you can see, they've actually got a Bigfoot statue marking where that sighting happened. He claimed that what he saw was a big man-like hairy creature, red eyes. I apologize for the traffic, but there's really no place to get out, and since it's a country club, I'll probably get thrown out of that. Let's go see what else we can find. So this behind me is Carver's Falls, and over the years there's been quite a few sightings in this general area. Now it makes sense. This is actually fair ways into the woods to get to this spot. There's a trail, but it's popular with fishermen, and according to a sign way at the top, kayak access around this area. There's a hydroelectric dam way at the top of this, and to give you an idea of how close to Vermont we are, which there's been Proctor, West Rutland sightings and prints. The hydroelectric dam up there is actually run by Green Mountain Power from Vermont. All this back here, as deep as it goes, that is essentially the backside of Bear Road. So that gives you a rough idea, and the camera's not going to do it any justice on how deep you can see that goes, how thick that is in there. Quite the rugged terrain as well. And I think this is a place we're going to come back to tonight. My lovely film crew does not want to come back all the way down here because it's a pretty steep walk. But we're going to come a ways into the woods, listen to what we hear, just due to the amount of sightings in this one area. We'll be back after dark. All right, see you in a little bit.
In 1/10 of a mile, turn right onto Soldier Street. Turn right now. In 400 feet, turn right. Turn right now.
Okay, we just pulled into Carver Road, Carver Falls Road, which is a side road that we talked about right off from Bear Road. So we're gonna sit, we're gonna listen and run some thermal, see what we can hear, hopefully get some tree knockings or catch something on the thermal. I want to show you guys what I'm seeing. It is pitch black out here. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but you hear the peepers. The thermal that I'm using, you're going to hear a click every few seconds. That's just a thermal. I don't know, it's got something to do with it, like recalibrating or something like that every few seconds. And I've got it set to black and white because it comes out the clearest. It's a Seek thermal on my phone. Anything that illuminates black is got a heat signature. But I wanted to show you what we're seeing right now. Alright, so we sat at Carver Falls Road for quite a while. Didn't catch anything, which is really about what we expected. Like I said earlier, anything that was around at least this part of Whitehall is probably not going to come back anytime soon. They still claim to have sightings around. As you can see, there's still the sporadic house, but all of this is new and wasn't here in the 70s. We're going to take our time heading back to our cabin, take some side roads. As, like I said earlier, there are claims that this thing, whatever it is, has jumped in front of cars. Oh, Jesus!
Almost
scared
person,
me.
almost person, almost person.
It scared me. Guess I'm a little jumpy. In case you guys didn't catch that, there was an Amish person.
We did see a rabbit
Yes, we saw a rabbit.
and 2 deer.
2 deer. Well, we're gonna head down some of these county roads. And a lot of these roads kind of remind me of the Northeast Kingdom in Vermont, where it's just farmhouses, sporadic houses, mostly woods.
In 1/10 of a mile, make a slight right turn onto Upper Turnpike Road. Make a slight right turn now.
So we're back at the cabin. It's the next day. We had a long day of filming yesterday, and we were both pretty tired. And I had a belly full of some of the best pizza I ever had in my life. So, to wrap it up, do I believe that all these incidents occurred, that people saw what they reported that they saw? Quick answer and the unpopular answer, I don't know. I don't know. Last night at that field that we were at, it wasn't off Abear Road, it was right behind there, but you couldn't see really anything in front of you. And the moon conditions and the lighting conditions were about the same as they were that week of August in 1976. Yes, I did research that. It was a quarter moon about each time. So if there's a full moon, I'd be more apt to say, okay, it's easier to see something there. Wintertime, obviously, it'd be easier to see something. That's the one part of the story that really has me questioning things. Now, the flip side of that, the one thing that you have in law enforcement, and I know this because, like I've said to you guys before, I served 22 years as a law enforcement officer. The one thing that you have the one thing above all else that you work for years and years before you attain it is the respect and your integrity. And you don't want to blow that when it comes to, especially if for no other reason, for court issues, because a defense attorney would be all over that, calling you crazy. But you want the respect of your fellow law enforcement officers. You don't want to be known as a laughingstock, no matter what. The Whitehall PD became known as a laughingstock for a long time after this. It wasn't a popular opinion. It wasn't like it is today, where you can say, hey, I just saw this weird thing. Oh, no kidding, really? Wow, that's awesome. It wasn't like that. So the officers got a lot of crap. Whitehall PD got a lot of crap. I don't know anybody in their right mind that would want to subject themselves to that just for a lie. There's also a lot of stories, and up to this day. Now, I'm also not a fool on that. A lot of those could be misidentifications. You know, there's bear. It's bound to happen. There's bound to happen. There's going to be lies up to this day of such a famous story, people wanting to cash in on the fame. So some of those other witnesses up until this day could be just that. Again, do I believe it happened? I don't know. I would tend to lean towards yes. The only question I have is how hard it would have been to see that creature in the field. But again, with the descriptions, even with that sighting in 1975 before all this happened, now, granted, the gentleman said he saw laser beams coming out of its eyes, which is very far-fetched to me, but that was a year before and the description was exact. So it's hard to say, but we had a good time. This is very, very famous Bigfoot sighting, at least in the Northeast. I'll probably get some comments of people arguing about what else is more famous, but we had a great time. We met some great people. I got to see a lot of the sites that I'd been wanting to see for years and years, and just being here was really cool. But we will see you in the next video, and if you like what you saw, please share it with everybody and hit the subscribe button. Thanks a lot.
Axel, did you have fun in Whitehall? Did you have fun? You did?
Oh, shit.
I was like, what am I filming for? Axel! Ha! Axel, high five.
Yeah. Then I get told that there was my tree knot. I think that might be effective.